Well, amidst the conditions that are right now in Israel, we see the truce has been continued. How and in which way things are going ahead. To know more details about the same, I'm now joined by Deputy Chief of Commission from Israel Embassy, Mr. Ohad Kainar, with me. Thank you so much, sir, for your precious time. Currently, to start with, what is the current situation right now with respect to people who have been left, the hostages who have been still left under Hamas or otherwise?
So we have currently around 160 hostages still left in Gaza remaining. Their situation is unknown. Hamas is making claims as to how many are alive and how many are dead. But we've seen that they've been wrong before or lying before. There was an 84-year-old woman that they claimed was dead, which all of a sudden appeared. So we don't trust any of their numbers or statuses that they give to the prisoners. There are 8 children within those 160 that have not been released yet. And among them, I think in everybody's hearts is little baby Kfir Bibas, who is 10 months old. Yes, he was taken by his mother, with his mother and his 4-year-old brother. Hamas is claiming that they died while in Khan Yunis, and they're accusing the IDF as killing them, but we didn't bomb in Khan Yunis, so that does not make any sense. They're playing mind games. We really hope that the family is still alive and safe and that we will be able to bring them home. But they're not the only ones. 160 are still there. We need to bring them all home.
So, in which way you plan to go ahead with the truce? The truce is continuing right now, but talking about the terms and conditions, what is the kind of call right now with 160 hostages still remaining?
Well, the truce has been in place until now. It's very fragile, and there are already 2 infringements by Hamas during this time. But we're very adamant on bringing home the children. So again, we have at least 8 children that still need to be released. It can continue if Hamas acts based on what we agreed, and they haven't from day one. By the way, they agreed on times. They said it will be at 4 p.m. Israel time. It was never 4 p.m. Israel time, always in the middle of the night. They made claims in regards to which prisoners are coming from Israeli jails back to them. And you have to remember, these are terrorists. There are people who stabbed. There are people. There is a suicide bomber among them that survived. There is even yesterday there were claims about how we are imprisoning children. One of the children they were talking about, which Gigi Hadid had to apologize later, is one that stabbed to death 3 people in Jerusalem. And so there is, there are lists that we are willing to give for our children, but there are also things that Hamas is trying to pressurize us to give. First off is time. They want time. Our operation is effective, and they're afraid. And so they want time to regroup, and they want time to find international pressure on Israel to stop the operation altogether, which will not happen, because we are determined to, first of all, out of the 2 goals of the operation, first of all, to eradicate Hamas, and second, to free our hostages. The second portion is that they are hoping to place themselves better within the city of Gaza and Jabalia and try to get as many soldiers killed while this operation is going on.
While we understand that there are 160 hostages that are, over there, at the same time, from the other side, we understand that there are big claims of the numbers. You talk about deaths, you talk about people who are, stuck or who are kept hostages on this side is what they say. Yeah. So they are also talking about releasing them and freeing up them.
Yeah, they were free. They were free on 6th of October. They were completely free. There was not one single Israeli in the Gaza Strip. We didn't start this war. They came over the border. They murdered 1,400 of our citizens. They raped. It took UN women 53 days to admit that there is something going on. When Israeli women from day one were saying, where there were claims and there was evidence about crushed pelvises, and it took the UN 53 days to come to its senses to say that maybe there was rape. Maybe they don't even believe that there was, despite the overwhelming facts, despite the overwhelming testimonies of women. It's a scenario where everything could have been averted if they were seeking peace, but they were not seeking peace. They came over our borders. They came into our towns. They murdered our children. They kidnapped every single person that you see here behind us and more. And at the end of the day, we were to be accused of starting this war. We didn't start it. We didn't want it. But by God, we'll finish it, and Hamas will not be there when we're done. Since 2006, they've been firing rockets, mortars, missiles at Israel. Can you imagine India, anybody in India, having to suffer missiles coming at their homes every single day from 2006? This is how patient we are. This is how democratic we are, that we tried to contain as much as we could, but this was too much. This is an attack no sane country that wants to see it a future for itself and its citizens can sustain. And we have to retaliate, and that's what we're doing. Hamas is using their population as human shields. They're inside, they're embedded within facilities which are UN facilities, schools, hospitals. We proved this time and again. We showed videos of the tunnels under Shifa. We showed the UNRWA facilities with rockets depleted. They fired tens of rockets from these facilities. There were UNRWA workers that are Hamas workers, proved. They were found with guns after firing on IDF. And after all of this, we're still being blamed for instigating. We didn't instigate this. But again, we will make sure that the society of Israel is safe and the population of Gaza is free from Hamas.
Mr. Kainer, what is on ground, on plate, going wrong, or why is this narrative being set up the other way around when you say that you bring up the kind of proofs of how in Shifa Hospital or otherwise, MRI room turning out to be something else? There are ammunition, arms that are being kept.
There are 13 million Jews all over the world. That's it. That's how many Jews exist on earth. There are 9.5 million Israelis, out of which about 8 million are Jews in Israel. This is our number. This is what we are. Do you know how many Muslims and how many radical Muslims there are in the world? Do you know how many people are willing to come and spout their lies in an age where nobody checks for facts? Do you know how rabid TikTok is and how horrible the clips of lies and defamation and vile, disgusting comments made at Jews and anti-Semitism? Do you know how much of a mess there is? We're at best, adults, Jewish adults, trying to defend, our facts and our truth. At best, we're 8 million. And there's a whole wide world of people that are out there spewing anti-Semitism, hate, inciting for murder of Jews. There is a limit to what we can do in setting a narrative. But at the end of the day, people who care about facts, they can't come to any other conclusion when they're faced with facts. Whoever cares about the truth needs to look at the facts. Whoever doesn't care, which is the majority, will continue to spout the same horrible rhetoric, the same anti-Semitism, and continue with these horrible lies. And there is a limit to what Israel can do about it. Social media has become a disgusting nest of anti-Semitism. It really has.
You have recently, talking about the kind of organizations who are extremist or who are doing something wrong as per, a country's view. We understand that you have called it LeT as a terror organization, Lashkar-e-Taiba. Now, India has been very much, upfront with respect to LeT. You talk about 2611. You talk about otherwise the kind of radicals that are active and that are against the country. Now, Israel has taken a stand. Why the stand was taken so late? One. Second, what made the stand to be taken into the consideration now?
It's not late at all. We took it symbolically on the 15th anniversary, but we were never asked to enlist Hamas into the terror list of Israel. What we do when we fight terrorism daily is we focus on organizations we have to work against. Hezbollah, Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, PFLP and its subsidiaries, IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, and others. We never had a front with Lashkar-e-Taiba. If the Indian government, which is a close friend of Israel, strategic partner, had ever requested us, we would have done this the minute they had. And governments do request one another to do this. That's first. Second is, we started this process 7 months ago. Much earlier. This attack is 2 months ago, not even, close to 2 months. We started 7 months ago. It's a process that takes time. There's no connection to the events now. We wanted to complete it on the 15th anniversary, so symbolically, India will see the partnership that we have in combating global terrorism. And again, then the attacks happened, and people connect the two, but there is no official connection of the two. And I know because I instigated the process.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we had seen that His Excellency had also gone ahead and appreciated your this thing. What was it that was submitted while talking about LET and to make it a terror organization?
Well, of course, you do realize that LET has been listed by many governments around the world for different reasons over the years. The Americans, for example, after 2001, their attacks, 9/11, they already listed LET because they saw activity of LET and Al-Qaeda joined together. After the attacks here in Mumbai, where 6 Jews died, it was on our radar, but it is not an organization that is actively working against Israel on a day-to-day basis, very far away. And so again, we will list because we wanted to have this nice gesture towards India, and we do believe in solidarity and fighting terrorism, but it's not a pressing concern for our national security. It never has been. Nonetheless, terrorism where it is should be uprooted, should be destroyed, should be demolished. Pakistan should not be hosting them. They should not be there. They should not be active. And their financing should not be allowed to go anywhere in the world. So I think more countries should list. And I think more countries should list organizations which potentially are transferring funds through them.
How about going ahead from the side of Israel and asking or requesting India to announce Hamas as a terrorist organization?
Yes, and again, unrelated, because we're talking about processes that started 7 months and then post-attack. But the listing of Hamas is something we're asking the government of India to do. First of all, because India is a strategic partner and a friend. That's first. Second is, Hamas is a terror organization. There is no question about that. You see the actions. This is not the action of a peace-loving organization. They are not militants. They are not extremists. They are murderous terrorists. There's no other way to call them. And anybody who's been exposed to the videos, the footage, the testimonies understands that these are people that cannot be reasoned with. They are worse than ISIS and they are worse than Al-Qaeda, and there is no question about what needs to be their demise. Having said that, we provided the government here with an official request for listing Hamas. We provided hard intel. The rest of it is up to the government here and to its procedures, and we don't discuss the backwards channels officially on open media. But we have filed and given everything we think should be filed with the government. We know the government here, which is a friendly, positive, and sensible government, will take this seriously.
Has there been any response from the side of India back with your request?
Again, this is backwards channels that are not open to the media.
Okay. Going ahead and talking about, once this particular truce, till when you are expecting this to continue, one, and what is the next action that you are planning to go ahead with?
You will see that the truce is held only for the purpose of releasing hostages. If the release of hostages cannot be secured or the price is too high, basically they are asking right now for the freeing of every single murderer that we have in prison in Israel, and that's unreasonable. Yahya Sinwar, by the way, the head of Hamas, was freed in one of these deals in the past. We should have never freed him. It's a very high price that they're asking for, and it has a price in blood. Eventually, these people are murderers that want to kill Jews. They never stopped wanting to kill Israelis and Jews, and there is a limit to what we are going to allow to come out of prison. They are a danger to our society. Our mission is to defend our civilians. If we're trying to get them back, but at the same time we're putting out murderers that are much worse, that can do even more damage, then it beats the purpose. So there is a balance there that needs to be figured out. The minute that we see that the balance is unachievable, or they're not willing to abide by the agreement, then the ceasefire will be over, and we will continue to fight until we eradicate them. It's a stated goal. We are not moving from it, not 1 inch.
Fighters gonna head from north to south part of Gaza. How and in which way you're going?
I'm not a general. There are military men that are responsible for this, and they have their orders, and they know the plans, and they know exactly what they want to do. We will achieve that goal, even if it costs, and it does cost us a lot of blood, a lot of soldiers that die, but we will do it because we have to do it. It's their raison. They have to save the civilians of Israel, even if it means costing their own lives.
Well, Mr. Kainaway, last thing, last message, also message of peace if you have to, share, one. And secondly, right now we are seeing that with respect to India, India is fighting a kind of alignment with respect to the terrorist, against the terrorist. And then there are certain countries that are, going ahead and pinpointing India and trying to play a kind of trying to play a kind of plot that is there. So, with respect to that, how and in which way you talk about terrorism all across the globe?
Well, your policies against terrorism are very clear. Last year, you were heading the UN Security Council, and during your temporary presidency, you promoted no money for terrorism conference that was held here. You tried to create an international rally against them. It's clear, it's sensible. We have always joined that call. We share strategic allyship with India, meaning that whatever information we need to share with one another, we do. Military cooperation, if necessary, we are always available for that. And we have good ties on this. They are reciprocal and they are positive. And that's what I can say on that topic. In regards to a peaceful message, I have to ask you something. How many peaceful messages have you heard from Palestinian ambassadors worldwide? How many peaceful messages have you heard from the head of the Palestinian Authority? Zero. Zero. And they're not even Hamas. From Hamas, a terror organization, there is nothing positive coming out, and there will be nothing positive coming out from us to them. The only way they can end is a violent death and be rid. We do not want to have to deal with them ever again. There is only one destination that they are heading on. But don't confuse the two. Palestinians are not related to Hamas, and we will deal with Hamas as we need. There is no peaceful message to Hamas. Having said that, starting out with the fact that none of the Palestinian envoys anywhere are putting out peaceful messages, I will say this. I'm 45 years old. I have daughters. I hope for them to live in peace. I hope for the Palestinians on the other side to also live in peace, exactly like they had on the 6th of October before they started these attacks.
So that's from Mr. Kainar, who goes ahead and says that how and in which way Israel will do all its bit to make it sure that all civilians in their area are safe. But for journalist Sumit Kumar, I'm Urvashi Khona.